Hello, my name is Roberta Lee and I am the founder of Ethical Brand Directory, and today I've got the lovely Tatum Diamond with me from Ethical Brand Directory, who creates beautiful handcrafted handbags made from environmentally responsible materials such as leather, and she's here today and she's going to share a bit more of her story. So hi, welcome Tatum.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you doing?
Good, very good.
Brilliant. So Tatum, I'm going to just kick things off and just ask you some questions, actually. I mean, maybe you'd like to reintroduce yourself and your brand if I didn't cover the points exactly how you might have liked to explain them. And then I'm going to ask you a bit more about your why behind your business.
Sure. So, like you said, I'm Tatum Diamond. I'm the founder of Tatum Diamond London, which is at the moment, a handcrafted leather and accessory brand. Really passionate about the ocean, reducing the levels of plastic in the ocean, and raising awareness for all the marine life that kind of live there and call it home.
Brilliant. Okay, well, thank you, Tatum. So what prompted you to start your business and come up with your brand and position yourself to do things differently?
Sure. So originally, a few years ago, I was a user experience designer, UI designer. So I did a lot of work in the digital space, which was really fun. And, I got to meet a lot of people. But I didn't feel like I was getting to be as creative as I wanted to be, or as I used to be. So my husband very kindly surprised me with a one-day handbag making workshop for Christmas. And I went along to that, and I was just sort of in awe of how you could take this like really flat piece of leather and cut it and bend it and sort of fight its way through a sewing machine, and at the end of that day walk away with this beautifully made slightly wonky leather bag that was practical and functional and just came from this like I said, flat fabric. So it really sort of gave me that passion again to want to make things and be able to make things and make things for other people and sort of relearn a skill. I think we spend so much time now in this digital space that a lot of us are forgetting how to use our hands, forgetting that you can cut something and fold it and stitch it and make something really useful at the end of the day.
Oh, amazing. So so the handcrafting is quite an important kind of part of the process for you.
Yeah, I sort of a bit meditative sometimes. You really have to think about what you're doing and focus on which piece goes where at which point in the journey is very important. There are many mistakes I've made where I've kind of put the wrong thing at the wrong time and then not being able to feed it through the sewing machine. And you do have to kind of concentrate on what you're doing, but it's fun and nice to kind of go back to those core skills.
Brilliant. Okay, well, tid you for sharing that. Now, I think this one's probably going to be quite a short answer, but what's the story behind your brand name?
So I did play around with a few different versions, but at the end of the day, I settled on using my own name. So Tatum Diamond is a pretty name. It's nice to say, if you kind of say to someone like, "Oh, what's your name?" You say Tatum Diamond. Everyone's like, "No, what's your real name?" Because I was luckily gifted with the name that does sound, a bit fun. It is kind of memorable. I just decided that it would be a nice thing to use. It's also quite good for SEO and those sorts of things because I'm not fighting with anybody else. There is just me.
Absolutely.
It's sort of nice to be able to use yourself as your brand and kind of model it off all of my beliefs, which is another reason that sort of me as the person and me and the brand are very closely aligned, because I do carry a lot of those beliefs through over to the brand. And then just so that there was a little bit of distinction between the two, I added London to the end, because that's where, the brand was born. It's where I came up with the idea that it was going to be handbags. So I just wanted to have that tiny bit of distinction so that there was Tatum Diamond, the person, and Tatum Diamond London, the brand.
Brilliant. Okay, thank you. So Tatum, you're a member of Ethical Brand Directory. So It's obviously a bit of a clue as where this question's going. What does ethical mean to you, and how does that manifest itself in your business?
Sure. So I think the people involved in the journey are really important, making sure that they're living lives as good as the lives that we have here. So making sure that, I am supporting local businesses. At the moment, all my leather comes from a local London manufacturer or supplier. He doesn't actually manifest the leather in London, but I can go over to his factory or to his shop, select the pieces of leather and just, really make that part of what I'm doing. But as the business sort of grows, I'm really wanting to get to use or expand and find a partner that's going to, kind of go on this journey with me. So making sure that if it is going to be a factory, where they're based, how do they look after the people that work for them? So the company I'm speaking to at the moment are very, very on top of making sure that their staff is looked after. So, if somebody has a child, there's on-site daycare. They've made sure that those women can still work and feed their families and feel empowered, but know that their children are safe. So just making sure that those people are treated well and really.
Okay, so brilliant. So just to summarize, so the ethical side of your business, you're very much focused on taking care of all of the people that are involved in any part of the process. Okay, brilliant. That's really great to hear. And then not finally, so I've got a couple more questions. Sorry, finally. No, there's a short interview. So sustainability is a really popular term right now, almost a buzzword, and it can mean many things. But can you break it down and tell us how you're embedding sustainability within your business and maybe even what sustainability means to you?
Sure. So I've sort of touched on it a little bit, but the ocean and marine life is really important to me as a person and something that I really want to make sure is carried through my brand. It kind of does feel a little bit tenuous occasionally, kind of going, I'm a leather handbag maker, but the ocean is my passion. But I feel that if you're making a well-made product, a product out of long-lasting materials, that it's going to last a long time and therefore keep things out of the ocean. So if you have a beautifully made leather handbag that you can use in many different ways for different parts of your life, you're then going to hopefully have that bag for a long time and not have 30 other really cheap bags. Yeah. So that's going to keep the bags and the waste out of the ocean. Kind of raising awareness for marine life as part of what I do. So I name all of my range and products after a marine animal, and then try to raise a bit of awareness for why I've chosen that particular animal. So there's a lot of orcas and dolphins that are really badly treated because of the sort of entertainment industry. So one of my purses is called a Riso, and that's to kind of raise awareness for the fact that those dolphins really shouldn't be in that space and how we can use our purchasing power or lack thereof to change those mentalities. So, if you don't go to SeaWorld, no one's going to go and watch the dolphin show, and then they're not going to have dolphins, and that's going to sort of release some of that. I think I've gone on such a weird tangent with that one.
It's okay. It was quite interesting actually to hear that. So, I mean, obviously sustainability to you is a lot, ocean is important, minimizing the use of plastic or eliminating it entirely, and the treatment of animals. So what would you say if people questioned your choice of using leather, if you care so much about animals in the ocean?
So at the moment, the way that majority of the world lives, we use a lot of milk, dairy products, we eat a lot of meat, and all the leather that I use is a byproduct of those two industries. I'm also very selective on how the leather is treated, so I only use vegetable tanned leather at the moment, although there are some other ways that they're doing it that is still, there's no metals or very harsh chemicals in it, but they don't necessarily call it vegetable tanned, just to confuse all of us. there are a lot of companies where you can actually track where the leather came from. So you can actually, they tag the cow on its whole journey. You know which farm it was on. You know that farm treats those animals well. And then it kind of goes through the journey of that leather being produced again in a really sustainable, ethical way. And because of the choice of how the leather's tanned, it also means that the leather retains its biodegradable purposes, that it can still break down. Because if you treat leather with a lot of chemicals and a lot of metals, it doesn't actually break down as much as we would hope. Another reason that I've kind of decided to go with leather as opposed to some of the leather alternatives is because keeping plastic out of the ocean is so important to me and to my business, that using something that is like a vegan leather, a PU leather, sort of doesn't work because it's made from those crude oils, which is kind of, the plastic process. And I just don't want to encourage that and to waste something we already have. So a lot of leather, more leather than we actually use, or the hides themselves, are actually ending up in landfill rather than being used to create bags, shoes, jackets. And then we're creating this new product, which is, quite damaging to the environment. When it breaks down, it's damaging to the animals that eat it. So, yeah, I mean, everybody's kind of got a different opinion on leather. Is it good? Is it bad? There are many articles written on it. But for me as a brand, choosing the right leather, choosing leather that is sort of retaining those biodegradable properties, and using something that would otherwise end up in landfill is really important.
Brilliant. Really great answer. I've been carrying out lots of research myself to write an article about the use of leather and whether it is sustainable or not. So it's really interesting to hear your point of view on that. I personally feel comfortable shopping and supporting small brands that ensure that the leather is ethically sourced and that the leather has been treated without chemicals. And I'm okay with that for as long as humans keep consuming meat and we have more hide that is going to waste. Then I think the most terrible crime in any sustainability journey is wasting things and creating things when there's already a viable
solution
option.
Yeah,
exactly. But I do understand that we all have our own sets of values, and whilst we might be okay with the leather, it's fine if other people are not. So are you planning on introducing any non-leather ranges to your collection?
Yeah, so something that I've been doing a lot of at the moment is painting, which I haven't spoken about that much actually. So I'm working on a new range that is going to have either canvas or kind of be made out of canvas as the primary base, whether I can find or whether I use organic cotton or recycled cottons. I'm still trying to see which is going to work better. And then I'm going to actually take the paintings that I'm working on, which have some quite strong messages, and print those on the bag so that there's kind of a bit more something that you say a lot, sort of wearing your values. So the message is prominent, you're kind of shouting about it. And then I'm also looking at using recycled ocean plastics as the lining. So kind of taking some of that waste back out of the ocean and finding something to do with it, because, as a lot of us know, you can't melt it, you can't bury it. As much as people say nothing lasts forever, but plastic does. So just finding a way to reuse it.
Okay, great. Okay, well, that's not uncommon for ethical brands to use recycled plastic bottles in the lining of handbags. I think it makes sense because they won't ever go into a wash machine. So, there's not so somebody might go, well, that sounds a bit strange if you're talking about the ocean, but you're about to use plastic bag lining. So it would just be really interesting when you're ready to launch that range to talk about the why, because I think people will probably think the same thing as I just thought just then until you explained it quite beautifully.